Hi there, fellow A-pluses. This is Datila bringing your Money in the Bank 2023 review. Alright, so we got a lot to talk about, but I want to kick off with the biggest talking point that happened on this pay-per-view. It finally happened. After 3 long years, Roman Reigns got pinned. And you want to know who pinned him? Jey Uso pinned Roman Reigns. He pinned him. And it's quite funny because Jey Uso was the first person to pin Roman in 2013. And 10 years later, here he is again. He pinned Roman Reigns. Now, I have to be completely honest, I feel some type of way about this because it's kind of like Cody Rhodes still needs to finish the story. And now that Roman Reigns has been pinned, I feel like it takes away a little bit of the mystique surrounding that story. But what were your guys' thoughts on Jey Uso pinning Roman Reigns? Do you think this affects Cody's story? Let me know in the comment section down below. Me personally, I think it does because you already pinned Roman. The only difference is it wasn't for the title. His mystique is gone, I feel. But that's just my opinion. All right, let's talk about this match. So this is the first time the Usos ever competed against Solo Sikoa. And one of the things I really like about this match was that you could see that there was some hesitation on Jimmy's part because him and Solo Sikoa started the match. So there was hesitation. He didn't want to attack his brother. And you could also tell Solo was just kind of like, looking at Jimmy. But I was right about this. This match had so many false finishes. Like, I lost all my fake nails, my acrylic nails during this match because I was just like biting on them. But there was this one spot where Roman Superman punched Jey 2 times and that wasn't enough. Like, I really also like the story that they told with Jey and with Roman. It's like you could tell Jey, he wanted to do this to Roman, and Roman, you could tell, was thinking to himself that Jey had this coming, and the crowd was just chanting "fuck you, Roman." There was the one spot where the ref went down and I was like, oh my god, this match is over. There's no way the Usos are going to win this. But to my surprise, they hit the 1D to Roman. And of course, the ref was down, so it's like they didn't win. And then Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa do a double Uranagi. Solo did it to Jey and Roman did it to Jimmy. That wasn't enough. Okay, so like Solo Sikoa Samoan spikes Jey, and then Roman Reigns hits him with the spear. Solo stacks the Usos for Roman. Remember, he was gonna smash him, he was gonna stack him, and he was gonna pin him. And that didn't happen. Like, they kicked out of that and my jaw just like dropped. I was like, oh my god, what am I watching here? And so there's just one spot where like Solo Sikoa attempted to take out Jimmy Uso from the announce table, but like he moved. And in the ring, you had Jey Uso with the super kick to Roman and Roman with the Superman punch, and he pinned Jey, but Jey kicked out with a low blow. Really like that callback. He hit Solo Sikoa with the super kick, and then you had the Usos doing a double super kick to Roman Reigns, and then a splash by Jey, and Jey pinned Roman Reigns, and the Usos were victorious. It's like, oh my god, like, I was shocked. Really, I was. And like I said earlier, I think this takes away from Cody Rhodes' story because the mystique and the allure surrounding Roman is gone, if you can say, because the whole point was he hadn't gotten pinned in 3 years, and now he did get pinned, and it's like, where does this leave Cody Rhodes? It's like, he won't be the first man in 3 years to pin Roman. So that's just my opinion, but I think that Jey pinning Roman is definitely going to be used to set up Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, probably for the WWE Undisputed title. But that is how Money in the Bank went off the air. So that was a great main event. Super great main event, and a good way to close off the show. I'm so glad that match main evented because there was rumored that Cody Rhodes versus Dominic was going to main event, and it didn't. So really glad the right match main evented. So Money in the Bank kicked off with the men's Money in the Bank match. I thought this was a surprise way to kick off Money in the Bank, But I can't complain because this was a really good match. I actually really enjoyed this match. And it was so funny because everybody ganged up on Logan Paul. So, like, as soon as the match started, they ganged up on Logan Paul. They actually, like, and then when he attempted to climb the ladder later on in the match, they ganged up on him again, which I thought was so hilarious. But you know something? I gotta hand it to Logan Paul. He did a splash onto Damian Priest on the ladder. That looked like it hurt. You had Butch doing a moonsault from the ladder, taking everybody out. You had Butch with the chin lock to Escobar. And then Ricochet did a 450 splash onto Butch and Santos Escobar, who were laying on a ladder. So there is this one spot where LA Knight dropped Shinsuke Nakamura and Santos Escobar, who were on a ladder, and then he attempted to drop Logan Paul and Ricochet, who were also on the ladder. So I think this spot was botched because earlier in the match, Damian Priest and Logan Paul had set up 2 tables on the outside, and what I think was supposed to happen was LA Knight was supposed to push the ladders and they were supposed to fall onto those tables. Unfortunately, that was not the case here. Ricochet and Logan Paul land on the ropes, and then it seemed like Ricochet had to improvise. So he puts himself and Logan Paul through the tables, but the tables, only one table breaks, and it looks like Ricochet broke that table and Logan Paul just hit the table. But he posted a picture of himself where he has like scrapes and bruises, like scrapes on his back that looked really nasty. So I feel like that spot was botched. And it came down to LA Knight and Damian Priest, and I was rooting for LA Knight. I mean, LA Knight was so over in London. The crowd was behind him. They were chanting his name. They were saying, yeah. The only thing that they needed to say was, let me talk to you. But the crowd was behind LA Knight. Could you imagine how the crowd would have reacted if LA Knight would have won this? Wow. But Damian Priest is victorious, and he is now Mr. Money in the Bank, or as he later called himself, Senor Money in the Bank. And how do I feel about Damian Priest winning? You know what? I'm not mad. I'd rather Damian Priest win than Logan Paul, but I was rooting for LA Knight, and I think a lot of people were. I think it was definitely his moment, and I don't know, part of me feels like maybe he got punished for getting over on his own. You guys know Vince McMahon doesn't like wrestlers that get over on their own. So I feel like this was his punishment. Hopefully it doesn't derail his momentum. He's clearly really over with everybody. But you know what? If it wasn't LA Knight, I'm happy for Damian Priest. I think Damian Priest certainly deserves it. And he's been working at a main event level caliber. Now after this, it is the Undisputed Women's Tag Title match, but I'm going to go ahead and skip forward to the backstage interview that Damian Priest conducts, where, like I said, he calls himself Senor Money in the Bank, and he says he's got a lot to think about. And he said he can cash in on the US Intercontinental titles and become champion, but he says he knows he will one day be champion. So now I'm gonna go back. So we get the Undisputed Women's Tag Team title match. It is Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler versus Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan. Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan never lost those tag titles. They relinquished them due to Liv Morgan's injury. Liv Morgan dressed like Ginger Spice over here. And I have to say, this wasn't a bad match. It was an okay match. Wasn't my favorite match of the night. I feel like out of all of them, it was kind of the weakest, I'd say, of the bunch. But I was not expecting this to happen. Shayna Baszler attacking Ronda Rousey, which costs them the match. And Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan are once again the women's tag team champions. Now I have to say, I feel some type of way because Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey literally just won those titles. Literally, they just unified those titles. You want to establish these titles as something legitimate, but that did not happen here. And so now it seems like we're going to get Ronda versus Shayna. See, this is why WWE Women's Tag Team Division is like non-existent, because they break up and split up so many teams. Y'all remember when they split up my favorite tag team, the Iconics, and what later on you had Peyton Royce teaming with Lacey Evans? Like, seriously, it's so ridiculous. This is why the division is non-existent. This is why you didn't need 2 sets of tag belts. But we'll see what they do, where they go with this, but wasn't a huge fan of this match. So we had the Intercontinental title. It was Matt Riddle versus Gunter. This was a really good match. And you know what? Matt Riddle held his own against Gunter, but it wasn't enough. Gunter won by submission with an ankle lock to Matt Riddle. And then at the end, you know who came back? Drew McIntyre came back and he hit Gunter with a Claymore and he held up the IC title. So it seems to me like that's Gunter's next feud. It's probably his SummerSlam match. Now, I question here what is going to happen. Is Drew McIntyre going to dethrone Gunter, or is Gunter going to surpass Honky Tonk's record? Like, wait and see. He has to hold on to the title at least until, I believe, September 6th, for him to surpass Honky Tonk Man's record. But with Drew McIntyre back in the fold and the rumors that he was unhappy with his creative and his whole contract, you gotta wait and see what happens here. But what are your thoughts on Drew McIntyre making his grand return and him being Gunter's next opponent? Let me know in the comment section down below. So next weekend, Cody Rhodes versus Dominic Mysterio. Of course, Dominic Mysterio being accompanied to the ring by Rhea Ripley. You have Cody pretty much like trying to hit Dom, but Dom keeps escaping. Like, Dominic slaps Cody. Cody rips off his cast because his arm is healed now. Like, at one point, Dom tried to go into the crowd, but Cody Rhodes brought him back. So when Rhea was distracting Cody Rhodes, Dom was attempting to take the turnbuckle off, but the ref caught him. And Rhea Ripley pulled Cody Rhodes off the ring apron. You know, I'm really surprised they didn't have Brandy Rhodes get involved in any type of capacity during this match and this brief feud. Now, the crowd, I have to talk about the crowd. Like, the crowd was totally behind Cody. They were like singing his song and they were chanting for him. Like, one of the things I like about these international shows is the crowd is just like non-stop. Like, they're loud and they make themselves be known. Dominic attempted to do the Three Amigos to Cody. Rhea Ripley caused another distraction. And then Dominic attempted a 619, but it didn't connect. Cody Rhodes with an Alabama Slam, then a Cody Cutter and Crossroads, and Cody Rhodes is victorious. And we had no sign of Brock Lesnar, so I'm pretty sure Lesnar's going to return at some point, and we're going to get Cody Rhodes versus Lesnar 3 at SummerSlam. But you know, this feud in this match with Dominic was just a sidestep to keep Cody Rhodes busy until Lesnar made his grand return. Next, surprise, surprise, we have John Cena. I was not expecting John Cena to show up here tonight. So this segment totally caught me by surprise. So the crowd was singing along to John Cena's theme song, and he said he himself is surprised because people usually chant Cena sucks. I don't chant Cena sucks because I like John Cena. He goes on to say that this is the first premium live event in the UK in 20 years, and he wonders what took so long to go back. And I'm not sure what the whole point of this segment is supposed to be, but the gist of it is that Cena says he's trying to bring WrestleMania to London. You know, and he's not here for one more match. So could you imagine that? WrestleMania in London? That would be insane. And I would be all up for that. And I would try to go to WrestleMania in London. And Grayson Waller comes out. And the crowd tells him to shut the fuck up. Grayson says that he's disappointed in Cena for lying to all these people, and he suggests that WrestleMania go to Australia and he can help John Cena get a spot on the show. But he says that he wants Cena to let him help his career and that they can do Waller versus Cena at WrestleMania Australia, and that nobody says no to the Grayson Waller effect. Grayson attacks John Cena and John Cena hits Grayson Waller with an attitude adjustment. So I was not a huge fan of this segment. This segment felt kind of out of place and totally unexpected. Again, I don't know what the whole point of this. Maybe it's gonna be John Cena versus Grayson Waller sometime in the future. Maybe that's what the whole point of this segment was. But if it doesn't lead anywhere, really, did you really need to do this? But what are your thoughts on John Cena coming back at Money in the Bank and him hitting the AA to Grayson Waller? It's funny, it's not the first time John Cena makes a surprise appearance at Money in the Bank. If you guys remember, Money in the Bank 2021, John Cena returned, and that is how he challenged Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. So we get the women's Money in the Bank match, and this was actually a really fun match. I don't know what match I liked more, the men's or the women's, but I will say this match started off really slow, but it certainly picked up. Of course, Zoe Starks and Trish Stratus worked together. There was this one brief moment where Trish Stratus and Becky Lynch worked together to take Zelina off the ladder. I guess the one big spot in this match was when Zelina did the Code Red to Zoe Starks from the ladder onto a ladder. And the finish to this was so creative, if you ask me. So earlier in the match, Trish Stratus and Zoe Starks attempted to handcuff Becky Lynch. That didn't work. So Becky still had the one cuff on. And so Io Sky handcuffed Becky to Bayley. And so she handcuffed them. And so they're stuck on the ladder. And she climbed the ladder and she became Miss Money in the Bank. So obviously there's going to be some tension there because earlier in the match, Bayley did drop Io Sky as she was trying to climb that ladder. So I'm really happy Io Sky won this match. She was a favorite to win. Really happy that she won. I can't think of anybody else who deserved to win the Money in the Bank ladder match. But now what does this mean for Damage Control? I think Damage Control is splitting up here, but good match. After this is the World Heavyweight title match. It's Finn Balor versus Seth frickin' Rollins. Now, Finn Balor is on a mission to get revenge for what Seth Rollins did to him at SummerSlam 2016. I thought this wasn't a bad match. I knew Balor was going to lose and I feel like we're going to get another rematch at SummerSlam 2016. But the interesting part was that Damian Priest came out and he was watching this. He watched this match. Remember, since he's Senor Money in the Bank, he can cash in whenever. And so there was this one spot where Finn Balor, I feel like he was going to do the coup de grace, but Damian Priest distracted him. And this allowed Seth Rollins to take advantage. And he did the stomp to Finn Balor. And Seth freaking Rollins successfully retained. But you guys remember, Finn Balor did cost Damian Priest his spot in the World Heavyweight title tournament. So we have to wait and see. I mean, who do you guys think is going to get kicked out of Judgment Day? Finn Balor or Damian Priest? And more importantly, is it going to happen Evolution style? You know, when Randy Orton got kicked out of Evolution, they did the whole thumbs down thing. So let me know in the comment section down below. After this, it is the Bloodline Civil War, Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa versus the Usos. But I talked about that at the beginning, so I'm going to stop here with my review. Overall, tonight's Money in the Bank was extremely fun, really enjoyable, and it's so funny that was the case because both go-home shows to this pay-per-view completely sucked, and I was not excited for this at all except for the men's and the Bloodline stuff, and I was pleasantly surprised to find out the entire show was pretty good. Now, I'm not sure if you guys saw, but Adam and I did do predictions, and it seems to me like Adam beat me. The only match he got wrong was the women's match. I got that match wrong, but everything else he beat me to it. And Adam, looking right at my camera, and I say, I acknowledge you as predictions champion. Congratulations on beating me, Adam. Cannot wait for SummerSlam. We'll see who wins there, and let's see if you can keep your momentum going. But with that being said, you guys, thank you guys all so much for watching and for the continued support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, but make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever this video drops, whenever Aplus Hero Report drops new content, or whenever they go live, which is every Sunday. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!